Hello everyone. So this first video that I'm going to make for you guys is going to be about fingerings and notes above the staff. These notes are harder than normal because they have a lot of different fingerings, and also they are harder to play because they need a lot more air. And I'm going to flip my camera around and I'm going to show you the first note that we're going to be talking about, which is D staff. So if you look here, this note would be C above the staff, and so this one is D. It has two lines and then it's sitting right on line. And this note is not played like the normal D is, with your first two and these three and your pinky and your thumb. It is played with just your second and third fingers on your first hand, your thumb key, and your pinky. And it's going to sound like this. And so to get your notes out, you want a tighter embouchure, especially because you want to push faster air out because the notes are higher. And that will be with about all of the notes that I'm going to show you. You're going to want to keep that in mind. And so the second note that I'm going to tell you about is E. And so this note is E here, and is what it looks like. It's got two lines and it's on the line, so it's kind of just like C, except it has one more line stuff. And this note is you're going to play with your first finger and your second finger, your first finger and second finger on both your hands, your thumb, and your pinky. And it's going to sound like this. And so it's a little bit higher than the D is. The next note is E flat. And this is one of my favorite notes because it uses all of the fingers. So you're going to want all of your fingers down, your pinky and your other pinky, except for the pinky on your A flat key. And so this note will sound kind of like this. And so I really like this note just because it's a fun note for me to play, especially. Okay, the next note that I'm going to show is F. So F would be this note here, and it's above E especially, and it looks like D, except for it has one more line. And the reason I'm showing you guys the notes is because sometimes it's really hard to differentiate which note is what above the staff. And so I really wanted to help and make sure you knew what note I was talking about and what it looks like on the staff. So when you guys see this in music, you kind of have familiarized yourself with it a little bit. So the fingerings for F are going to be your first finger on your first hand, your third finger on your first hand, so you don't use your second finger, and then the first finger on your second hand, and then you're going to use your thumb. So F is almost the same as in the middle of the staff and at the bottom of the staff, except for you're just not using your middle finger. And so F will sound like this. And so the next note that you can play is F sharp, and this has two different fingerings. The fingering for F sharp is you're going to keep your first finger and your third finger, and you're going to keep your thumb, but you're going to switch from your first finger on your second hand to the third finger on your second hand. And this is how you're supposed to play F sharp. And then there is an alternate fingering for F sharp, which I learned a while ago, and it is the middle finger. And so it sounds the exact same. But you can use this fingering when you have fast runs or you are switching between a note that's easier to just pick up your middle finger instead of your other finger, because it just makes more sense in the music when you're playing fast. And I'm sure that will happen eventually. And then the last note that I'm going to show you guys is G. And so G is this note here that I have labeled. And G also looks like E, except it has just one more ledger line underneath. And G can be a really hard note to get out just because it is so much higher than all of the other notes. And the higher you go, the harder it is to get the notes out, especially as a younger player. And so you just want to make sure that you keep a tighter embouchure all the way through. And the fingering for G is, it's kind of going to be like a normal G. So you're going to want your pinky on your second hand, no fingers on your second hand, first, second, and third fingers on your first hand, and no thumb. So you're not going to press your thumb key at all. And so that's how you play G, and that is how it sounds like. So I'm going to go through all the fingerings again, and then I'm going to play kind of a chromatic scale from D all the way up to G. And I'm just going to go through all of the notes and the fingerings for you. So go back again. So we have D, and then E, and then E flat, and then F, and then F sharp, and then the alternate fingering for F sharp, and then G. So. And that's how you're going to play the notes above the staff. So I'll give you a couple more tips if I haven't given you them already. I'm just going to remind you guys again that you want to keep a little bit of a tighter embouchure than what you do for your normal, because that'll help you push faster air out. And to practice these, you don't even have to play the notes, especially. You can even just use the body of your flute if you want to, and just go through the fingerings, like D, E flat, F, G, and that can work for you as well. And you just want to keep practicing and getting that repetition, and even just looking at notes above the staff and getting your eyes used to seeing them. For me, when I started, I had to label the notes above the staff for a little bit until I got used to it. But when I'm doing like scales or faster work, I label the notes. Like I'll label the high A or the high B flat above the staff. And those are notes that I haven't shown you guys because you probably won't see them very often. But I just wanted to, that's what I do. And I make sure, because I see the notes rather than think about them, just because that's easier for me, because I have a lot of the notes memorized already, and so it's just easier for me to see the note and I know the fingering right away. And so you guys can do whatever works for you, but that is what works for me. If you have any questions at all, you can email me at kaylee.randa@gmail.com, and I will answer any questions for you and give you any other pointers if you would like. Otherwise, stay tuned for more videos, and see you later!